So this is going to be a quick demo on how to use the replicate feature here. So first I'm going to insert the parts that I'm going to be mating together. So I've got my bearing plate, I've got my bearing, got a wheel, and I've got my spacer. I'm going to go ahead and first I'm going to mate this bearing plate to the bearing tube. So you'd see these two mate connectors together, and then I'm going to mate just the bearing first to the bearing plate like this. So now typically you might think, I'll just select this and copy paste it, as many times as I need to and then mate those. But this replicate feature, it saves you all those steps of mating. So here first I'm going to select my instances. So these two parts I'd like to replicate. And you see this blue highlighted circle. So that was the mating edge on this bearing plate, and then I can select match individual edges here, and I can replicate these set of parts to whatever reference I'm mating to. So here you can see all the bearing holes here. I'm replicating those two parts onto. And then once I'm done with that, I can further this by further use it again and replicate the spacer and wheel set onto the other two shafts. So first mate these together, and then going to replicate spacer and wheel, replicate that pair of parts, match individual edges, and replicate onto here. And so my middle one right here, I don't have a bearing there, so I'm going to do replicate again and select the bearing this time and the spacer and the wheel, and then replicate that onto this bearing face here. And just like that, with just 2 additional clicks, I've replicated the wheel, the spacer, and the bearing, and all this bearing place with just a few additional clicks. And something special to note here is this replicate is not like a pattern feature. As you notice here, there's no pattern feature that shows up in your assembly tree, because this replicate here, it's basically, you can treat it as an intelligent copy paste, because these parts are now their own individual parts. So if I were to update this, if I were to or just straight up delete the wheel here, these other instances are not affected. So that's just something to know.